up, everybody? It's your host, A. Millie here, and I am back with another episode of the Sip and Sit. This time, I am doing a recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 10. As you know, Real Housewives of Potomac is really one of my favorite reality shows that are on right now. And this is my first time ever doing a recap. So I say, you know what? Let me bring it to the Sip and Sit. So I'm going to recap episode 10 from last night. If you are a Real Housewives of Potomac fan, please make sure you comment on different questions, anything that I'm going to ask. So I'm going to keep this thing going. Each episode, I am going to do a recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac. So let's get into episode 10. Now, it starts off with Gizelle and Robyn. They announced that they are going to be doing a live show for their podcast, Reasonably Shady. Now, Gizelle brought up what Ashley told her about Wendy and Robyn basically getting along at the nightclub in Miami. If you saw that episode, you saw them hugging, them embracing, and all of that good stuff. So basically, Robyn talked to her about the interaction with Wendy at the club and how she was just acting different. And basically, Robyn is saying, this is the Wendy that I like. This is the Wendy that I got to know when she first got on the show. So again, Robyn is talking about Gizelle reaching out to Candiace as well after what went down in Miami. If you watched last episode, you would see that Candiace and Robyn kind of got into a heated argument in the car while Ashley was recording on their way back to the home that Mia had for them down in Miami. And she did tell Gizelle that she wanted to reach out to her because they did have a good relationship at this point, and they need to really talk about what went down in Miami. Now, furthermore, also on the episode, Candiace is celebrating a huge milestone, so shout out to her. She got her MBA in business, and gotta clap for Candiace because she is really doing it. Congrats to her. It's not easy going back to get another degree. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna do it myself, so congrats to her on getting her MBA. So at this point, Candiace is planning a party, with friends and family to celebrate her big accomplishment. Now, she's talking to her husband, Chris, about inviting Karen to the party, and she also did confirm. I'm saying this is what she said last night on the show. She did confirm it. She said that she did say that about Karen and Ray in Miami as Robyn kind of played the whole Instagram live. She did say that, but she told Karen that she did not remember, but she did confirm to Chris that she did say it, and that a producer told her that she did in fact say it. However, she said that she was drunk and she doesn't remember saying all of that to what she said to Ashley. Then the big drop was she told Chris that her period is late. And so you know what that means. If you have been watching the whole season or on past seasons that Candiace has been on, you would know that she has expressed that she and Chris want to start a family. So she told him yesterday on the episode that she was late, and both of them were really, really excited about Candiace potentially being pregnant. And you should see her face and Chris's face. It really, really lit up. They really, were basking in the ambiance of her potentially being pregnant. Now it kind of shifts gears to Karen. Karen was talking with a friend about doing a live show, the Karen Huger Experience, and then her friend was saying, why don't you name it An Evening with the Grand Dame? Like a variety show. And Karen was like basking in the idea of the live show having a live show doing something like a variety show. And I thought that was so good for Karen because she's hilarious on Potomac, and I think that this would really be good. And matter of fact, she has done her live shows and included drag queens, and it was really good show. A really good show. I've seen comments on the blogs how that was really good. And she also in this episode she talks about how people in the circle they all do the same things at the same time, and how Robyn and Gizelle were doing their reasonably shady live show. Next, we're going to talk about Wendy arriving back into town, and her husband Eddie picks her up, and she talks about being in Chicago. However, she was saying Chicago like she was like a monster or something, but of course, Eddie was correcting her, saying the correct pronunciation is Chicago, not Chicago. So they had a little laugh about that. She went for a speaking engagement, and then she talked about her procedure of her having kidney stones. So Eddie was reminding her, hey, you need to put your health first. Your health comes first before any and everything. So that ended them with riding in the car. Now, finally, we get back to Robyn and Candiace. I know earlier I talked about how Robyn said she reached out to Candiace to talk about what went down in Miami. So Candiace and Robyn finally meet at a bar, and they were talking about, Robyn's friends that passed away in a car accident. She became very emotional. Of course, Candiace became very emotional, and they're embracing one another. They both talk, and Candiace says that out of everyone in the group, she feels that she is more close to Robyn. And Robyn also stated that she thinks of Candiace as a little sister. And she also talked about how she put her on blast in Miami. But Candiace was like, you could have just talked to me separately from everybody else instead of just putting me on blast. And so Robyn is really looking at Candiace like a little sister, as she said, and she felt that Candiace was questioning her loyalty, because if you remember in the live, Candiace said, basically nobody shows her any loyalty in this group. So Robyn again was talking about that and said that you need to be more specific when you are speaking about things like that, because Robyn basically was saying that, I've been with you from the get-go, even with the situation with Gizelle and Chris, I've had your back, and, you're saying that I'm not loyal. And so at this point, Candiace is, she's emotional. Both of them are emotional, and she finally understands where Robyn was coming from, and she doesn't think that Robyn is fake. Now, she said that last night at the bar. She said, I don't think that you are fake. And Robyn says, again, anytime that you do that, you need to make sure you being specific in your delivery, because Robyn thought that, hey, you're singling me out too. You're saying that I'm not showing you any loyalty, which, I've had your back, even in different situations. And so they both forgive each other, and they move on. My take on that is, I understand where Candiace was coming from, and I do understand where Robyn was coming from. Like, don't group me and everybody, be specific on who you're talking about, so you won't have that confusion or any problems. Now we're going to switch over to Mia. Mia, in this episode, she finally opens her chiropractic clinic in DC, and Karen was in attendance. Basically, Karen is saying that, hey, despite what happened in Miami between me and you, I'm still going to support you. I'm still going to show up for you, because she says she takes her friendships seriously, and I'm going to still go out and support. Now, that was the only thing that they showed about Mia in this episode. So congrats to Mia for opening up her joint chiropractic store, or not store, business in DC. Shout out to her. And we're going to switch to Ashley. So basically, Ashley takes her youngest son, Dylan, to see her aunt and uncle. And she talks about how Michael wanted just to spend some one-on-one father and son time with Dean, which this led to a disagreement between Ashley and Michael. And basically, during this disagreement, she's saying that Dean is hearing all of this, and he comes out and he's yelling, "Stop!" And so she breaks down when she's telling this story to her aunt and uncle. She feels that, Dean shouldn't have to hear that. And her aunt and uncle basically are agreeing that he does not need to hear the parents arguing. You don't want to put your children in any situation like that, and for them to remember that, at such a young age. So at this point, Ashley is breaking down. She's feeling like she is going to be on her own as a divorcee, as a single mom now. And she is very scared, but her aunt and uncle kind of reassured her, like, no matter what you're going through, we're still going to be there for you. You can always count on us. We're your village, and you're never alone. So I can understand the frustration Ashley is going through as far as now, with the dissolve of your marriage, and now you are a single mom now raising two boys. It can be hard. I know I grew up in a single parent household, and it was really hard for my mom to raise me after being divorced. But Ashley, as her aunt, really told her, "You're strong, you're going to get through this." And Ashley is one tough cookie. Like, she is very strong, and I know that with this situation she's in, she's a fighter. She's gonna come through, and she's gonna do what's best for her and both of her sons. Now we're gonna switch to one of the green-eyed bandits, Gizelle. Gizelle is hosting a Sweet 16 birthday party for Angel and Adore, and I really thought that the decorations were really, really age appropriate. Everything was beautiful. Both of the girls were dressed very well. Gizelle was very well put together. I know everybody talks about her fashions, but last night the outfit that she had on was very appropriate. It was stylish. I think, don't go off on me in the comments, but I think that it was really, really cute. So she had a Sweet 16 party for Angel and Adore, and of course Jamal Bryant was there because, of course, he is the girl's dad as well as Giselle's ex-husband. So he's going to be there, and he attended. He complimented on Gizelle, how she looked and everything. And I was like, "Ooh, is he kind of flirting with Miss Gizelle?" But all in all, the party went really, really well. The twins had their friends, and also Gizelle kind of had like a separate, not per se a party, but just, I guess, with parents and a few friends. She had like a table set up so they could be away from the party, because I think the twins didn't want the parents with Gizelle and Jamal to be there inside the party. But they did have like a moment where they talked about their daughters, and they thanked everybody for coming. And Gizelle gave a speech saying how both of her girls are strong and confident, and basically to continue with that, because she wasn't like that when she was younger. So she looks at them as strong as well as confident. And she also invited Ashley, Sharice, and Robyn. They were in attendance at the party. Now we're getting like toward the end of the episode at Candiace's party. Now Candiace, like I said earlier, she got her MBA, and she was having a party filled with family and friends to come have fun and celebrate her big milestone. So at Candiace's party, she invited Karen and Ray, Wendy and her husband Eddie, Robyn, and Sharice, and they all came. And she also said in this episode towards the end that she did take a pregnancy test, but it was negative. So I know they were hoping that it would be positive, but I guarantee you, I think Candiace is going to be pregnant. And I won't say right now and this year. I think 2023 will be the year that Candiace will be pregnant with her baby, and I cannot wait to see that. Also in the episode, Robyn was asked by Karen when was the wedding, because I know in Miami they asked her when it was, and she told them that they were getting everything together. And Robyn tells the Grand Dame that it would be a private ceremony with just Juan and her two sons. So Karen, it was like, well, nobody's invited, nobody's coming, and that was a whole nother issue. So but a funny, it's not an issue, but a funny little joke here and there. But I can understand Robyn just wanted to have just her Juan and the two boys. I get it, it's stressful trying to invite everybody under the sun, and she just wanted something more intimate. And I know in I don't know if it's the next episode, but on down the line in the season, she will be talking to her parents about the wedding. And so I cannot wait to see how her mom reacts to that as the season continues. So finally, Wendy and Robyn, they talk about the conversation they had in Miami in the club. And so Robyn kind of asked her why couldn't she have that conversation with everybody present than just having that conversation at the club with just her. And so Wendy, is understanding where she came from. She wasn't interjecting or anything, but she was really understanding where Robyn was coming from. And she did tell Robyn, like she said, she told her at the club, she misses their friendship. And with all of that, they both apologized to each other. Wendy apologized to Robyn, and Robyn apologized to Wendy. And they each hug and they move on. If I can remember correctly, when Wendy came on, she and Robyn did have a good relationship, and it just turned sour, I think, from last season, which was Wendy's second season. I think it just turned sour with the whole confrontation when they were in on one of those couple trips, and the back and forth between Robyn and Wendy was not good. So I think that kind of put them in a sour place as well as at the reunion. So it's really good to see them, let bygones be bygones, and they put everything aside to really, move on from this situation. And good for them, because sometimes I feel that it only takes a conversation to really get through to a person and really squash the beef, and I'm happy that Wendy and Robyn are now getting to a place where they can move on and probably mend that bridge that was, slightly broken last season and somewhat of this season. So I'm really glad to see them, in a better place. And I hope it does continue, because Robyn did say that this is the Wendy that she loves. This is the Wendy that she was used to, not the other Wendy. So I'm really happy to see that they hugged it out and they moved on. And so finally, still at the party as the episode is getting ready to end, Candiace did admit to Karen, this time to her face, that she did say that to Karen and Ray, and that she was drunk. And I think that Karen really, she forgave her, she embraced it, but she says she's watching her. And my whole take on that is, we do say things when we are intoxicated under the influence, but I know that really hurt Karen's feelings, because she thought that her and Candiace were, better than that. But I'm glad that Karen forgave her, but she don't forget, because as Karen said, she is still watching. She forgive you, but she's still watching you. And finally, as the episode ends, Ray and Chris, they're having their little Real Housewives of, Real Husbands of Potomac talk. And Ray suggests, would Chris talk to Gizelle and apologize? And basically, Chris was not having it. He wasn't fond of the idea. He kind of said, why should I, apologize when that didn't happen? But I think what Ray was trying to say, she didn't understand and maybe she was confused. So he was just trying to suggest maybe if you apologize to her, then, she can understand where you're coming from. My whole take on that situation is I don't think that is true. I would never believe that that was true between Chris and Gizelle. I think that she kind of felt some type of way and was insinuating, but I don't think he will ever do that to Candiace. Even all the years that they have been on, Chris has not presented himself in that way. And I don't think he will ever do that to Gizelle because he actually did like and care for Gizelle like a sister. So for her to kind of bring those allegations and kind of say that he did something that was inappropriate, I don't believe it. I call bullshit. And and I just feel like I hope that they could get to a place where they can have a conversation and talk it out, and Gizelle will apologize to Chris because I don't think he did anything wrong. And I understand Chris not wanting to have a conversation with Gizelle because at the end of the day, when you do something like that, it's hard to come back around. So hopefully they will be able to sit down. Maybe at the reunion, we can get like a clear understanding and they can move on from this. But at the same time, I'm with Chris. If somebody says something to me like that or starts spreading lies, then I'm gonna have to take a step back. I cannot hold a conversation with you. So I am waiting to see what's gonna happen as the season progresses. Before the reunion, how will it pan out? How will it turn out? But like I said, Chris was not having it. From what Ray said about apologizing to Gizelle just to kind of like smooth things over, and he was not going for it. Now that was the recap for episode 10, and so of course next episode is Robyn and Gizelle's live show, and Gizelle is going to ask Mia's best friend Jacqueline. I know we've seen her on the Miami trip. She's trying to befriend some of the girls. She's getting her little 5 minutes of fame in there. And Gizelle kind of asked her, have you been intimate with Mia's husband? And, it kind of stunned Jacqueline, but I'm ready to see what she has to say. Because there's been stuff circulating on the blogs and everything about Jacqueline and Mia and Gordon and all of that craziness. So I'm curious to see what she says. Also, Candiace is getting ready to shoot her Insecure video with rapper Trina, and she is freaking out. If you haven't heard the song already, I interviewed Candiace back in November about her new single Insecure with Trina. It is a hot track. Please go and support Candiace. It's a really, really good song. And of course, the video is really good, and I cannot wait to see it play out on the next episode on Real Housewives of Potomac. And also, Karen comments on the Reasonably Shady live show. Of course, the Ground Dom is going to commentate. She's going to give her shade, and I cannot wait for that. And then Robyn is going to be talking about the prenup with Juan. So if you've seen the previews during the season, she and Juan will talk about the prenup and about the clause about infidelity. And of course, he wasn't going for that. So that is going to be interesting to see. And last but not least, Gizelle is going to ask Jacqueline about a car. Now, at the end of the episode, for the preview for the next episode, Gizelle is going to ask Jacqueline about a car and if Mia's husband Gordon brought the car. And Mia says some sly shade. So I cannot wait to see what the next episode will be. Of course, Real Housewives of Potomac is giving what it's supposed to give for this season. It is really snatching all of our edges, and I cannot wait to see the next episode, which is episode 11, coming out this Sunday on Bravo. So Thank you so much for tuning in on my first recap for the Real Housewives of Potomac season 7, and I hope to see you again next episode.